to make sure our children have fun, but are also protected. Isn't that like oil and water?
I skin my knees up. I get hurt at recess. It's just part of being a kid. You get hurt. In New York and New Hampshire just don't want to face the truth. In the UK, they ban all those things because they don't want to get sued by parents and stuff.
Isn't it better that we're diabetic and obese?
Well, the New World Order does want us diabetic and obese.
It's not just running, tag, or ball that they're banning. They also want to ban child businesses, such as lemonade stands.
Yes, we have an article here. 6 illicit lemonade stands towns had to shut down, one of which is a little girl named Allie Thorne. Like a lot of kids, 6-year-old Allie Thorne wanted to make some money. She didn't have dreams of fancy cars, yachts, and place in the Hamptons. She just wanted to have enough money to buy stickers. Just a little bit of stickers.
Just a little bit of money, like $5. That's all she wanted.
To buy a few stickers, and the police came and shut her down.
This is just like I said in my last report, the war on entrepreneurs. The government, anytime they see any child acting out of the norm of watching TV and getting fat on ice cream, they see it as an attack on them, and they make plans to shut it down fast. This is a war on childhood and a war on our basic freedoms that doesn't stop when you turn 18.
We didn't even have time to get to the stack of articles with people letting their grass grow and facing jail time, and even having a vegetable garden.
But wait a second. I thought in World War II it was patriotic to grow vegetables.
Now for the real garden. When the maples are in bloom, it's time to begin planting. When the moisture is just right, the soil won't ball or be sticky. It holds its shape when pressed, but crumbles easily when broken. Then it's right for working and planting.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. In World War II, they did want to have vegetables and growing your own food.
Well, I guess they wanted to be patriotic and strong as a nation.
Yep.
Well, now what do they want us to do? Are we supposed to grow Twinkies in our backyard?
Yes, we are. Before we end this report, I want to share one more article with you. It says, parents of free-range children held by Child Protective Services after being found wandering alone in a park were found guilty of neglect a month ago, but refused to change their ways. So basically these kids were walking home from the park and the police picked them up and called child services, and it turned into this whole big thing. And since the parents have refused to obey their government overlords, now the state has come in and made it into an even bigger thing than it needs to be. It's just 2 kids walking home from a park. So. And maybe that's why Judge Report has just reported that kids are more stressed out than adults. Just remember, parents, we're kids and we like to be free and independent. Well, most of us do. And don't forget, don't inject us with vaccines.
I think we've basically covered the war on childhood and freedom today, but it doesn't stop here. Go on INFOWARS.com to learn more. This is my friend Morgan. We're going to see some more of him in our new report that's coming up, Democrats versus Republicans. Stop the war on childhood now!
Go to INFOWARS.com.
And a great job there by those 2 young reporters. Well, that's going to be it for my portion of the news, but when we come back after this break, back by popular demand, Eddie Craig. He's going to tell you what you need to do when you encounter the police and the steps you need to take to keep yourself out of jail.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here in a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
InfoWars Life and InfoWarsLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Simply put, if you want the best at an extremely low price, this is it. Winter Sun is the result of our pursuit of the best source of vitamin D3. The research and development took over 2 years, but the result, as verified by independent laboratories, is the best vegan vitamin D3 product in the world. Read the facts at InfoWarsLife.com about Winter Sun Vitamin D3. Not only does vitamin D3 promote a healthy mood, but vitamin D supports our memory and brain function, something the globalists are targeting. Visit InfoWars.com today or call 888-253-3139.
Hello, folks. My name is Eddie Craig. I am from Rule of Law Radio. You can listen to our show on LogosRadioNetwork.com on Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have been asked back to make a short presentation over the do's and don'ts of traffic stops as they exist here in Texas, but will generally apply across the nation. So please bear with me as I go through this. I'll try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. Now, for those of you that have gone to the LogosRadioNetwork.com/TAO address and downloaded the script, you'll be able to follow along with this. If not, you can go there and get it. We're going to cover first the do's and don'ts. First, do remember that in Texas, an officer is required to read you your rights before questioning or searching you if they have placed you in a custodial arrest. Now, what they won't tell you, and what the court has ruled here in Texas in the case of Aziz v. State in 2008, is that in Texas, in a transportation stop, you are always in a custodial arrest. No matter what the officer tells you about a lawful detention, you are in a custodial arrest. Now, that is why they are required, before searching and retrieving information from you, to advise you of your rights under 38.22 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. They never do this. The other part of it is you'd be waiving specific protected rights by giving them information, one of those being your right to remain silent. So please, when you go through this script, understand that there is a legal reason for everything it says to do or don't do. Now, be aware that they almost never read you your rights, and anything incriminating you that you say, they can use against you because it will be considered to be a voluntary statement on your part. So please be careful about waiving that right and providing them with information. Now, don't ever answer the officer's questions like, where you been, where you going, how many drinks you had, what have you been doing, and so on and so forth. That's none of their business. It has nothing to do with their investigation. These are setup questions intended to escalate this at the very first opportunity to what every basic transportation stop is meant and trained to be escalated into, and that is a DUI or drug bust. This is where their money and their ability to prosecute truly lies, and that's what they want. And that is what helps them get their promotions and their federal funding, is to make those type of busts. So you are being played when these types of questions are being asked. Don't fall for it. Now, in relation to that, you have that right to remain silent. By answering those questions, you are waiving that right, so let's not do that. The other thing you want to make sure you do is remember to roll up all of your windows and to lock your doors as you're getting pulled over, not after the fact when the officer's walking up to the car. You want to do it before you actually come to a stop. First, you roll your windows down just in case, to make sure the car's completely aired out. And then you roll everything up except for your window. And then when all those are up, roll your window up till it's about 2 to 2.5 inches and no more. The officer has no lawful authority to force you to roll it all the way down. No law compels you to do that. Therefore, no law gives him lawful authority to demand that. He will accuse you of not following a lawful order. He may even attempt to charge you with that. But that charge is false and fictitious. There's no law requiring you to do it. Therefore, there is no law on which to base the presumption of it being a lawful order. Now, don't open your windows, don't unlock your doors, don't get out of your car. Just don't do it. This allows them to intimidate you in other ways that you will not be comfortable with and you don't want. So please, stay in your car, stay where it's safe, no matter what they tell you, because they don't have a lawful authority to order you out of your car in a transportation stop, like they would if it was a DUI or a drug bust. And the whole purpose of this small portion of the window being open is to minimize their ability to make the accusations for either, as we will see. Now, that's why we don't ever roll down more than one window at a time. If an officer on the other side starts knocking on the window and telling somebody to roll it down, tell them not to do so. You don't want to create a cross draft inside that car that allows them to come up with the scenario of, I smell something, because air was pushing through your car from the other open window. So just don't do it. Don't ever provide an officer with any documents or other information that they demand. And as you saw in the presentation I made last week on the interview with Jakari, the problem there is by production of those documents, one, it's a voluntary statement. Two, those documents, even unbeknownst to you, can potentially incriminate you in other ways and be used against you in a court of law to prosecute you. They cannot compel you to waive a protected right to exercise a privilege, nor can they statutorily create the requirement that you waive the right to comply with the statute. Those are forbidden, and there's lots of case law that says it's forbidden. So we're just not going to play their game with them in that and waive our rights just because they're demanding it. They will attempt to charge you for it, which, as I also covered, is in of itself a violation of your rights to criminalize the invocation and exercise of a protected right. Your right to remain silent covers both production of documents and verbal and written statements. You don't have to produce anything that they can use against you. And since you are not an attorney, you cannot make the presumption that what you're being required to produce can't be used against you. You see how this works? Without that assistance of counsel, those decisions can't be made by you, shouldn't be made by you. So don't waive your right and produce. Even if you get assistance of counsel, make sure your counsel understands what rights they're trying to tell you it's okay to waive, because that's what they're doing. Now, don't ever give your consent to an officer to search your car for any reason, no matter how kindly and nicely they ask, no matter whether or not you think you have anything to hide. As I said in the original presentation I did on this subject, you don't know what one of your the people that you had in your car before, friend, family, stranger, whatever, may have left behind in your car. You don't know unless you clean it on a regular basis, both underneath the carpet and everywhere else. You don't know what could be in that car that could be used against you. You don't know what that officer's intentions are. He could be short on his DUI bust or drug bust for the month. He could be planning paraphernalia while he's searching your car. Next thing you know, you've got a drug possession or paraphernalia charge to fight against. Don't consent to warrantless searches. Just don't do it. Now, officers will almost always insist that you are not under a custodial arrest, but rather are simply being detained or are part of an investigative detention. That's a lie, folks. I just did a write-up on a video from Rome, Texas, where two cops were harassing this lady and her son. I dissected that video minute by minute, and both sides made their very big mistakes. The ones the officers made, however, are much worse simply because their mistakes resulted in a violation of rights, misrepresentation of the law. Basically, they're once again lying to members of the public to further their own ends. Folks, that's got to stop. We can't let them continue to get away with this. We just can't. So, when they tell you you're in a detention, you are not. In Texas, you are in a custodial arrest. In almost every state, you're going to be in a custodial arrest. You will need to research the statutes and the case law there to see if that determination holds true in your particular state, but here it does. That is where 3802 of the Penal Code comes in, where they attempt to threaten you with failure to identify because you won't produce a driver's license or something of that nature. As I covered in the presentation